Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Coding 101 is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
This episode of Coding 101 is brought to you by DigitalOcean. Simple and fast cloud hosting built for developers. Deploy an SSD cloud server in 55 seconds. Try it today for free. Visit DigitalOcean.com, and once you sign up, be sure to enter the promo code C101 in the billing section for a $10 credit. And by Lynda.com, the online learning platform with over 3,000 on-demand video courses to help you strengthen your business, technology, and creative skills. For a free 10-day trial, visit lynda.com/C101. That's LYNDA.com/C101. On this episode of Coding 101, we're back to PowerShell. Hello and welcome to Coding 101. It's the Twitch show where we let you into the wonderful world of the Code Monkey / Code Warrior. I'm Father Robert Balacer, the digital Jesuit, and of course joining me is my super special MVP wrangling co-host, Mr. Lou Maresca. Yeah, that's right. He's got the cowboy hat and everything, folks. Lou, welcome back to Coding 101. It's always great to see you.
Yeah, great to see you, Padre.
Now, if you remember, Lou, a few weeks back, in fact, a month ago, we had a chance to speak with the very talented, the very intelligent Sarah Dukevich, who gave us some PowerShell knowledge. She dropped it on us hard, and our folks have been clamoring for more. We could only give them 2 weeks, but we've got her back this week, don't we?
Yeah, I'm excited to have her back.
Yeah, it should be. I mean, we also actually, because we love the Coding 101 audience, we actually brought her back, and we also brought Adam Bertram. You may remember him from 2 episodes of Coding 101. We had him on a wild card, and we also had him as part of the best of the Microsoft MVPs. He is a PowerShell MVP. We thought we should bring him actually into the show rather than just into the chat room. Now, we're going to get to them in just a bit, but first, Lou, we found a very interesting resource on the internet for programming books. Some of our audience members have been asking us where they could go to find resources, and this is actually just a really good place if they're looking for some foundational knowledge of programming. Now, I should say, if you can go to that website, Brian, this is a site, 15 free books for people who code. I ran through it really quickly, but some of these I actually really liked them. It includes the architecture of open source applications, the nature of code using processing, learn regex the hard way, essential coding theory, which is crazy heavy on the math. It's actually a hard read. Unless you really like math, you're not going to like that book. Introduction to Computing, which is Python and Scheme, how to design programs, and foundations of computer science. My favorites in this entire list, there's 2 books that I really like, probably because I have them. 97 Things Every Programmer Should Know. It's an O'Reilly media book. And The Foundations of Programming, which is all about .NET. Now, Lou, these are free resources. People can download the ebook. Some of these come in PDF format. Some are actually in an ebook format. You found some books of your own.
Yeah, so there's an amazing GitHub link. It's just a wiki of just an index of all languages out there, and it has, every time you click on one of the languages, it'll give you a list of free books that you can basically download, a PDF or ebook, any type of ebook. Some of them have multiple formats. You can download to your Kindle or whatever. And it's actually really good, up-to-date books. And there's the C++ book by Bjorn Stroustrup, and there's a bunch of C books. There's Clojure, some of the new functional languages. So there's a lot of cool stuff in here. Good resources to find, and it's all free.
Yeah, and also I should throw in one that I only recently started playing with is the Google for Education portal. Brian, I believe there's a link there. It's kind of new. It still doesn't have a lot of the knowledge that I would say is foundational, but it is a nice jumping off point if you want to look at further resources. And in fact, the community that's attached to this is normally pretty good about answering questions that you might have. If there's a specific language or a specific question you have about a programming concept, this is a nice place to start. But as you said, The resources available for a beginning programmer, they're kind of endless. You just really have to jump in, right?
Yeah, you just grab one and go. I mean, then and you'll figure out what book is good or not, because you'll feel like, this is boring and I'm going to move on, or this is interesting and I'm having a good time. So I mean, it's really all dependent on which one you grab.
Right, right. Well, folks, that was a quick note. We didn't want to spend too much time because we are really excited to have both Sarah and Adam back on the show. We're going to be jumping over to them in just a second. But before we jump in, because we do want to spend as much time as possible talking about PowerShell, we thought we should first bring in the first sponsor of this episode of Coding 101, and it's DigitalOcean. Now, imagine this. Imagine the ability to take any service, any app, any, I don't know, desktop object that you want to play with and putting it into a container that can then run on servers around the world. No, this ain't fantasy. This is DigitalOcean. Now, DigitalOcean allows you to have a flexible, reliable, affording hosting of your apps and services. They provide you with droplets, which are virtual private servers that can be customized and deployed quickly to host websites, web apps, production applications, personal projects, virtual desktops, pretty much anything you can think of with full root access. Oh, it's built for developers, by developers, and it's used by over 4,000 of them, including me. What I like about DigitalOcean is that it allows me to take a droplet, an application that I've created, and maybe push it out to a couple of friends. Or maybe I want to stand up a site really, really quickly before I open it up to everyone. Well, I can find out how it reacts to real-world traffic before I make it go global. And going global is as simple as pushing a couple of buttons and deploying it across more and more servers. That's the beauty of DigitalOcean. They want to do exactly what you want them to do. No more and no less. You get to choose your OS: Ubuntu, CentOS, Debian, Fedora, CoreOS, and FreeBSD. They have a one-click install to quickly deploy apps like Django, Docker, Drupal, LAMP, GitLab, MediaWiki, Node.js, WordPress, Ghost, Magento, OwnCloud, Ruby on Rails, and more. All their servers are built on hex-core machines with dedicated ECC memory and RAID SSD storage, and you can have up to 20 CPUs, 64 gigabytes of memory, and 640 gigabytes of ultra-fast SSD space. It's highly scalable to meet the demands of a rapidly growing application or business, and they give you things like auto backups and snapshots so you can easily clone, deploy, and resize your droplets as you go. You want management? Well, how about full console access with HTML5 plus SSH, SFTP, KVM, VNC for virtual desktops, gigabit speeds with 99.99% uptime, even dedicated IPs if you need them. They've also got an extremely active community with a large and detailed set of tutorials on all the different ways that you can use and configure your droplets. It's one of the things I like about DigitalOcean. They have real people who use this product in the real world who will give you all the real world solutions you're looking for. Now, hopefully you're out of reasons not to use DigitalOcean, but I'm going to get rid of that last one. I know some of you don't want to risk the cost. DigitalOcean has incredible, affordable, and straightforward pricing with servers starting at just $5 per month. There's also hourly pricing, again for those beta folk, starting at less than a penny per hour. But here's the thing. We're going to make it so that you can get started today for free. Visit DigitalOcean.com and create an account. Once you confirm your email and account information, go to the billing section and enter the promo code C101 for a free $10 credit. That's plenty to get started and explore what DigitalOcean can do for you. That's DigitalOcean.com, DigitalOcean.com. And once you sign up, enter the code C101 in the billing section for a $10 credit. We thank DigitalOcean for their support of Coding 101. We welcome back to the show two people who they've really sort of they changed the conversation here at Coding 101. It's been so much fun having them. Miss Sarah Dukevich and Adam Bertram, both MVP folk, PowerShell extraordinaire experts. We brought Sarah on early as a wildcard episode and then to show us PowerShell. And Adam was someone in the chat room who we just enjoyed his input so much. We gave him his own wildcard episode. Then we invited him when we had all the Microsoft MVPs. And now we thought he should be part of the PowerShell module. Adam, Sarah, thank you very much for coming back.
Thanks for having us back. This is going to be fun.
This is.
Thanks.
Sarah, when we last left the PowerShell module, we were just starting to get into things. You were showing them how the structure worked. You were showing them how to start scripting. But you wanted to give people, well, a bit more substantial PowerShell. Where are we going to start?
Okay, so last episode, we talked about a custom PowerShell module that I had created. And this is a module I've been using since 2011. So let's flip over to that just so you guys can see with that. What I'm doing right now is I'm running this in the Windows PowerShell ISE. I'm going to shrink this down a little bit to give us more room to see code. Let's just do a quick review of what we looked at last episode and then go into what we want to talk about today.
Fantastic.
So in this custom module, the things that I want to point out are some of these things. Like here on line 1, can we get those line numbers to show up?
There we go.
Thank you. Awesome. So on line 1, this set alias, dash name alias, dash value set alias. So what this is doing is this is allowing me in my custom module to say that I want to create a custom alias. What an alias allows us to do is it gives us a shortcut to a command. Unfortunately, between now and last one, so I'm going to bring the console back up so you guys can see something with this. So I'm going to type just alias and press enter. And you'll notice things scroll by really fast. This is what it's doing under the covers is doing a command called get alias. So my custom module right now is not loaded, and we're going to talk about that here in a little bit, but just so you're aware, when we load it, this may not necessarily work right, this set alias stuff, and it's because of some things it's doing under the covers. So what I'm going to show you today is a feature that we got, I believe, now Adam, correct me if I'm wrong, with PowerShell and the auto-loading modules, was that version 3?
Yep, yes it was.
Yes. So PowerShell version 3.0, we had the ability to auto-load modules. What that means
Sarah,
is
can you give us a really quick refresher on what alias actually is?
Yeah, so what an alias actually allows us to do is it's a shortcut. So as you guys are seeing in the console part down below, and that where the white text is on the blue background, so you're seeing that we have the ability to do a shortcut. So let's see, something that would make sense to pretty much everybody would be like start process. Just if you type the word start and then put a process name after it. So let's say I were to start Internet Explorer, so start space iexplorer.exe. What under the covers is it's going to say, oh, there's an alias for start, and that needs to go to start process. So it's going to execute the start process commandlet with the parameters that I passed to it. So it's just a shortcut, makes things a lot easier. So what it's doing right now, because that module isn't loaded, is it's just running get alias. So this is something I learned when I was at the PowerShell MVP Summit. It is not an NDA thing. This is something that's been in there since the very beginning. When PowerShell is thrown a noun, like just plain old alias, what it's doing under the covers is it's going to try to run a command called alias. If it doesn't see any command called alias, PowerShell does a second pass of the command, and it says, okay, well, alias isn't there, is get alias there. Since get alias is there, that's what it's running under the covers.
Oh, okay. I got it.
It was a little maddening trying to track that down, because the feature I want to show you guys is this auto-loading feature. That way I can talk about what modules are a little bit better.
Now, that was introduced in PowerShell which version?
The auto-loading was introduced in version 3.0.
You said version, okay, 3.0. All right, got it.
Correct. All right. And what you guys are seeing for the demo here is a version of PowerShell 5.0 that comes with Windows 10. It's Windows PowerShell 5.0. Adam, do you know when that's going to be released? Do we have information on that? It's not.
We have some information, but I don't think I'm allowed to say.
You could tell the audience, but then you'd have to kill them all.
Yeah, I would have to kill everybody.
We don't want to kill them.
No.
Okay.
Let's not do that.
So just be aware that if you see anything on my screen, I'm not doing anything PowerShell 5.0 specific. I did that on purpose so that those in 3 and 4 can follow along as well.
Adam, actually, I want to bring you in on this. How many undocumented features do you typically use when you're doing DevOps automation?
Well, it depends on what you mean by undocumented. There's the Microsoft has done a great job at documenting a lot of the features, many of them. The only things that you're typically going to get into when you say undocumented is if you have to go down into .NET and do call .NET objects and .methods and use that sort of thing. But as far as just general PowerShell use, they're pretty much pretty much well documented already.
So why is this a not secret but undocumented call, Sarah?
So it was one of those that we were playing with I was showing my custom module to June. So you guys remember June from the Microsoft MVP episode. So keep in mind, her past life before being an MVP is she was working on these help files for PowerShell. So she knows PowerShell and how it's supposed to work. And I showed her my module and showed her how if I typed alias, it was doing this and it wasn't auto-loading the module and it seemed odd. And so she did it. And then we were just geeking out in our room, and next thing I know, I'm RDPing home to a server that has an older version of PowerShell, not trusting PowerShell-V to tell it to run a different version. And it kept doing this. It wasn't auto-loading the module. And we're like, well, what's going on? And that's when I ended up blogging about it on codinggeekette.com and then tweeted about it. And then some of the guys on the PowerShell team were like, oh, yeah. And some of the PowerShell MVP guys are like, oh, yeah, this is what it's doing under the covers. And so in my blog post, I actually talk about how that works. But I just wanted to point that out to you guys that just calling alias alone in here is not going to trigger the auto-loading of my custom module because of this two-pass thing that it does under the covers. And again, this two-pass thing, it's been doing it since PowerShell 1.0.
And you have a blog about this, right? That was responded to, or is there a place that our viewers can go to sort of read up on this?
Absolutely, they can go to codinggeekette.com, and let me pull that up here so you guys can see which post that is, because I've been blogging a lot lately.
And I guess I can add in here while you're looking that up. There's a lot of design decisions that come around that. So Sarah's situation was, first, it looks for, since PowerShell was built to be a language and a shell, there were some design decisions that had to go into that whenever they built both. So in this instance, when Sarah tries to set an alias of alias, it looks for alias.exe. So as part of the shell process. But then that kind of goes back into the PowerShell as a language. Then it kind of falls back. That's kind of why that two-phase thing is going on. There's also some other stuff like how when people say, well, why is it -EQ or -NE instead of the equal sign or the, less than, greater than? Same thing. It's because they had to make some design decisions around it using as a shell or as a language.
Right, and that's actually just that's a design decision you have to make if you're creating a language that has a lot of natural programming in it, because you can't use something that's already been defined. Otherwise, you have very interesting race conditions, which is fun. Let's do that. Let's do that. Okay, so Sarah, it's the mystery of the PowerShell alias. If you go ahead and go to the, that's again, codinggeekette.com/the mystery of the PowerShell alias, all dashes between those words. And if you want to read up on this, not so secret, but it's more fun to call it a secret. If you want to read up on this secret, undocumented feature that you can only hear about because the powers that be at Microsoft haven't yet crushed Sarah, then this is where you want to go.
They won't crush me. They won't. But this is going to lead me to actually put in a request to them to maybe fix alias so that it's not doing a get and actually doing a set, so that those of us who have some sort of Linux background, when we type alias, it'll allow us to actually create an alias.
Right.
That's
a relatively simple fix, right? I mean, that's not even a new revision.
I don't know what those guys do over there. So what sounds like it should be a simple fix may not necessarily. Being a developer, I can tell you what we think is simple fixes aren't always simple fixes.
Lou, what do you guys do over there?
I feel like all I do is fix bugs.
Lou, in your department, do you have a lot of undocumented calls that customers can play with?
In CRM, we do have an SDK, and we don't actually have we have a public SDK that's pretty versatile. So you can actually, it's mostly just what we call buckets. So you could basically pass in what you want to do in plain text, and it'll go and do it in the back end. So it's mostly documented in the sense that it's very structured. So not really. We don't really have undocumented stuff.
Got it. All right, so now we've got the undocumented call out of the way.
Okay.
Where do we go next, Sarah?
Okay, so now I want to show you guys that this module is not loaded. So again, I just did a CLS to clear my screen. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do get-module. This commandlet will show me all of the modules that are loaded at the moment. I'm going to press enter, and it's going to run its little thing. And it's going to scroll a little, maybe.
Wait for it.
Oh, do it. Come on.
Come on.
Come on. You can do it.
So Coding 101 should not appear in this list. I did press enter, right? There we go.
There we go. Okay.
Okay, I'm like, this. Okay, so these are the modules that are loaded at the moment. But there are a lot of other modules available. So I can say get module space dash list available. And I'm just going to, as you can see, as I start typing, I have some IntelliSense. I have some help saying, hey, you can use this parameter. So I'm going to say, okay, tab complete that and press enter. This one will scroll. So what this is going to do is it's going to check all the various, what they call the module paths, and it's going to see what PowerShell modules are there. And I will talk about what that is here in a little bit. But just so you can see that it went through a bunch of folder locations, you can see that I've got SQL Server installed on this machine. And then I have my custom module one as well called Coding 101. So these are all the PowerShell modules that are available. But if I just do get module by itself, without that list available, these are the only things loaded. So it's like the magician showing nothing up this sleeve, nothing up that sleeve. Coding 101 module is not loaded at the moment. But if we come back to the code and look at this custom module, see there's like show preview, get proverb, something like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to call get proverb. I know get proverb is not a command that exists in PowerShell. Notice that I don't have any IntelliSense right now. So what the auto loading should do is it should check for the modules, or it'll check these modules to see if any of these modules have what I'm looking for. If it does, then it's going to load that module and then call the command. And notice it brought up a PowerShell proverb. The life without shell, like a heaven without hell. So what this did, so now I can do a get module, and we should see Coding 101 appear in this list. And now you will see, ta-da, there's Coding 101. Pretty cool, huh?
Very nice.
So get module is nice for telling you what modules are loaded. And then if you have something auto-loading and you run get module again, it'll tell you, hey, look at it. I loaded it for you, which is cool. Except if you're working on a custom module and you want to keep changing things. So this is the custom module, again, that I had done in a previous episode. So let's say that I want to change something else. So I'm going to say, take all this out. Actually, take the credits out for now, just because, well, this is a different episode, so different credits. So what the show preview does is it'll clear the screen, and then for an endless loop, it'll clear the screen, show a random proverb, sleep for a few seconds, and then run another one and kind of get in a loop. We can stop that loop with Control-C because, well, in a command window, typically Control-C is the way you stop your commands that are going long. If I were to just run show preview now, just so you guys can see what it's doing, because I made a change. It's right now doing, this is get credits. So I just pressed Control-C to stop that. So in order for me to bring in this change here, I need to actually remove it and bring it back in. And so I'm going to introduce you to a couple more commandlets. Before I do that, though, let me show you something else that's cool here in the ISE. Okay, so we already have our custom module already loaded. But as you can see up here, we changed it so that we don't run the credits because, well, this is another episode. And so we want to turn that off. Well, in order to do that, we need to remove and re-import the module. But before we do that, let me show you a cool tool that's here in the ISE. So I can come up to View, Show Command Add-on. Now, I've already typed module in here and let it go. What this command window shows are all the commandlets out there that have the word module in it. The three main ones that we're going to look at in this episode are import, remove, and of course get. Adam, do you have any others that you would recommend that I show?
Nope, because the majority of them are that's what you're going to use. There's update module and install module. That's our PowerShell gallery, the new stuff. But yeah, as far as get module, import module, those are the two definite main ones that you typically will use.
Correct. And the only reason why I want to show remove is because we're working with a custom module. So we're actually doing edits too. So what I'm going to do is, again, you guys can see get module, press enter.
So somebody takes your code, they have to run the import module to get it working?
Yeah. Well, so they can either run the import module, or if they know a command that's part of it, they can try to run the command and let the autoloader try to auto import it.
Cool.
But only if it's in the module path, though.
Right, and that's where I'm going to head to next. Okay, so you guys can see right now Coding 101 is loaded. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell it to remove module, and I'm going to type out Coding 101. If I try to tab complete it, it works as well. So what I typed there was remove module space coding tab, and that finished the Coding 101. So now if I run get module, you should see, just like a magician shows under their sleeves, no tricks up their sleeves. There are no tricks here. Coding 101, the module is no longer there.
Okay.
All right, so now the next command we're going to do is we're going to do an import module, just so you guys are familiar with this guy as well. And it's Coding 101. Now I could call show preview again and have the autoloader pick it up, but I'm going to do this just so you guys are familiar with this command. And I'm going to press enter.
And sir, are you familiar with the dash force parameter on import module? That might save you a step to removing the module.
Ooh,
You can
true.
force in
Well,
PowerShell?
you know,
It'll unload it and
we
load
can
it
use
again.
the force.
Show us that, please.
We shall, because I'm going to bring these credits back in. So import module, just so you guys can see, I'm going to do another get module. And
There
you
it
can
is.
see Coding 101
It's back.
is loaded.
All right.
If I type show preview, you can see that it goes straight into a proverb. We don't have any credits there. Now, if I go into here, take off the comment. So that number sign that you guys saw, that commented the line out. That means it's not going to get run. I've taken that out, so now it's going to get executed. I'm going to save it. So I just press Control S because, like many of us who use command line stuff, we are keyboard users. But for those who don't, then I just saved it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what our buddy Adam here suggested, and I'm going to say import dash module coding 101 dash. Now notice as I'm typing, I have some suggestions as to what I could be looking for, and we are going to use the force. So may the force be with us to reload this module.
My favorite parameter.
I use it quite often.
So what did that disk do? What did we force?
So what that should allow us to do is it should force that change where the get credits. So now if I run show preview, I should see credits. I shouldn't go straight to a proverb. The best way to do it is let's just run it and see.
Let's run it, yeah.
So let's show preview. Special thanks to, there's our credits.
Oh.
Very nice.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, so wait, who suggested that?
Who suggested what?
The force parameter. And who can we thank for bringing that into PowerShell?
Adam, you got any insight on that?
Thank to Braden in PowerShell. Well, you can thank Bruce Payette, the architect of PowerShell, if you want to.
Got it. All right, nice.
All things Bruce.
All things Bruce.
Yeah, the force parameter is a common parameter on a lot of commandlets, so it's a really, really handy parameter that you can use for a multitude of different things.
Right. Well, I want to continue on. Sarah, what do we have left for this module? Because I know we've got one more episode coming up for PowerShell, but we're not quite done with this. What will be happening after this break?
Okay, so after this break, I want to show you guys just what it's looking at as to how it knows where to find these modules. We call that the module path. And then I also want to talk about something called providers and what those are.
Okay, yeah, no, that's a nice little tease. It's part of the game here in Coding 101. Folks, we will be jumping straight back into PowerShell. Of course, we've got Sarah Dukevich, we've got Adam Bertram, and we've got Lou Maresca. Everyone's got, actually, can you go through our cameras? Because everyone's got MVP in our title. We've all got them in our lower thirds. Yeah, that's right. I'm the Jesuit MVP. We've got Lou, who is the Microsoft MVP Wrangler. We've got Sarah, who is the Visual Studio MVP. And of course, Adam is the PowerShell MVP. This is yet another MVP episode. Speaking of MVP, if you want to be an MVP, you need someplace that you can go that has all the knowledge you need. A repository, as it were, on the internet for things that you both want to learn and things that are reference for knowledge you already have. Well, here at Twit TV, when we need that repository, we always go to lynda.com. Now, lynda.com is for the curious. It's for the problem solvers. It's for the people who want to get things done. Whether you want to learn more about Excel or perhaps you want to up your hobby in photography, lynda.com is where you go to find references, resources, and yes, a little bit of skill building. Right now, lynda.com offers courses in Swift 2.0, it's essential training, demystifying Windows 10, universal apps and cross-platform development, an introduction to data analysis with Python, up and running with Go, which is a next-generation open-source programming language created by Google for building systems, web, and other applications. Now, we use lynda.com here for reference, specifically for our editors. You may remember just a few months ago, we made the switch from Final Cut over to Adobe Premiere. It was a change, yeah, definitely a change in our workflow. And even though a lot of the knowledge transferred straight over, our editors did need a reference that they can go to, type in a question, and find out exactly how a Final Cut function transferred over to Adobe Premiere. Well, that's what we get with lynda.com. It lets us watch and learn from top experts who are passionate about teaching. You get to stream thousands of video courses on demand and learn on your own schedule, on your own pace. Anyone who's ever tried to do distance learning knows how important that is. If you get to learn on your own time, it means you get to remember things much better. The knowledge actually sticks. You can also browse each course transcript to follow along or search for answers and skip straight to that point. You get to take notes, you get to make playlists and share them with your friends to turn learning into a group experience. Also, I gotta say, lynda.com is one of the best places to browse. If you're just looking for something to do with a little bit of free time and you've always wanted to pick up that little extra skill, that little extra hobby, lynda.com with its over 3,000 courses is a great place to jump in. Your lynda.com membership will give you unlimited access to training on hundreds of topics, all for one low flat rate. Whether you're looking to become an expert, you're passionate about a hobby, or you just want to learn something new, I want you to visit lynda.com/C101 and sign up for your free 10-day trial. That's lynda.com, lynda.com/C101. And we thank lynda.com for their support of Coding 101. Sarah, let's get back to the action.
Let's go back to the screen where we see the code and do all the things. Awesome. So we've looked at get module, we've looked at import module, we've looked at remove module, and you guys may have noticed something. Every time I've dealt with those module commands, I'm just dealing with a name. I'm not putting any paths in there. So how does this work under the covers? Just something else to know. We have these things called environment variables. And I'm going to show you the long way. I just pulled up my system properties in my machine. And just so you can see all my environment variables, there's one in here that is called PS module path. And it's, of course, got a path that's forever long. That includes things such as the System32 Windows PowerShell version 1.0 modules. It's got some custom modules for SQL Server. Yeah, I know. I heard that sigh. I agree, guys. These are really long
intricacies
things.
of Windows, isn't it great?
But this is how we look at environment variables in Windows this way. There's a better way. There's another way to do that as well, though. So in here, I can come back into PowerShell and I could say something like, this. And you guys are going to be like, what in the world is that? I'm going to press enter. And look, I have a path. Of course, it's cut off. Adam,
Yes,
is there
ma'am.
an easy way to show the full value on that?
Yep, you can do dollar. You can do $env colon PS module path without the dir.
Ooh.
And then take away the slash there.
That's right. Awesome.
Nice.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
See, folks, this is why he's an MVP.
Teamwork.
Teamwork.
So now this env colon stuff, you guys are probably like, hey, it looks like a drive. And I did do a dir with a slash in there. So I'm going to scroll back up a minute. I did that dir with a slash on purpose. And this is going straight into our next topic, which is what they call providers. So PowerShell has these things called modules and these things called providers. Modules are, think of them like big gifts at Christmas. They include a whole set of commands, or they may include some commands and some commandlets and some help files or some other information, some variables, some little building blocks of PowerShell. Those are all get packaged together into a module. A provider is something even more cool because it gives us access to data stores that are normally a pain in the neck to navigate from a scripting environment. And so let me show you something with that. I'm going to CLS, clear my screen. You could also do clear. Oops. That also clears it. So what I want to say is get dash PS provider. Press enter. So these providers, and if you guys could scroll to the left a little bit so we can see that left column. There we go. That'll be as good as we can with this one. So you guys can see there are a few providers that are already built in, and what their names are actually suggest what they do. So we can access the registry via PowerShell. We can access the file system via PowerShell. We can access certificate stores via PowerShell. And so the columns here you see are name, capabilities, and drives. I'm going to skip capabilities for now and just boil it down to names and drives. So drives are how we navigate these things. So as you can see for file system, the drives that I have on my machine are C, D, and E. I don't have any floppy drives or anything on B. I don't have anything beyond C, D, and E at this point. But if I had, like, if I plugged in a couple USB sticks, those would also then get mounted and be part of the file system. Okay, so that's what. So I can do something as simple as let's run a directory command on HKLM colon. Oops, registry access is not allowed. That's okay. That's fine. But notice as I type slash, I mean, for those of you guys familiar with working with the registry, now we have, okay, let's go down and see. Oh, let's go to software.
That's actually a little bit scary right now.
I mean, working with the registry from a command line is one thing. Working from a command line that has this kind of help makes life so much easier when you're playing
coming
around
from
with
VB
registry.
script. This was a godsend for me whenever I started using providers.
Yes, and that's when I had written my book. I've made sure to point out providers are cool to use.
That's Brian giving you a big thumbs up.
MVP.
He likes that.
Hey, I'm a Browns fan. I don't see touchdowns often, so thank you for that.
Well, so this is really giving me finite control. I actually don't trust myself with that now. I mean, I saw that registry. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I can change that.
I like how it resolves it too. That was pretty cool.
Well, so check this out. Not only do we have registry, but we also have certificate stores. So do I want to look at the current user?
Let's show your certificates.
Well, I don't care.
Oh my goodness.
And then, okay, now look, I can take a look at.
Okay, this I will use. This is definitely for Dwight. Oh, I love this.
Yeah, providers make life so much easier. And if you have a developer like me who's friends with you guys, I can show you guys how to write this in C# as well. So we can create our own providers.
I can go. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. So that's one of the beauties of PowerShell is that it's extensible. And so, yeah, you can use C# to create your own provider. Actually,
Decimal Stereo would blow me out of the water.
That's crazy amount of functionality.
I know. So, I mean, that's why in this episode, my main focus was to show you guys that we have these things called.
So evidently, Brian is now doing all the sports. He has all the sports for these MVPs.
If I see hockey in there or lacrosse or rugby, I'm going to be even more scared.
Don't tempt him. He will do it.
Bocce ball?
Oh my goodness.
Swimming.
You know not what you ask for. Oh.
I have to.
Okay, so Sarah, we've got these
Yeah.
providers, we've got these
Yes.
modules. What are we gonna do with them?
So, in our next episode, when we start playing with the Twit API, we'll end up packaging our Twit API stuff. We'll look at how to package that into a module. But just so you guys are aware of what these are, if you find yourself in a situation, so my Git module list available, we looked at a long list that scrolled by, and there was stuff in there for SQL here. Let's get that guy to come back again. So if I do get module space dash list available, press enter. This is just my machine, and my machine right now is set up as a developer, plus doing some cool demos for you guys.
Okay.
Yeah. So list available. That's going to that environment variable that $M. Oops.
The one that you brought up.
Yeah, the MPS module path.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So get module list available is going through each one of these directories to find all the PowerShell modules that it knows about. So where was I going with? Oh, so this machine is set up as a developer machine right now. And so I deal with database development, so I have some SQL PowerShell modules on here as well. In a past life, I was a server admin dealing with web servers, and so I got to deal with IIS, and IIS has a web administration module. So I could configure all my sites and all my application pools and fix the hung application pools using PowerShell.
Right.
So it's nice to know about these things because they offer functionality. They offer the ability to control things right at the command line without having to fire up yet another interface to say, okay, click, next. No, let's just script all that and be done with it. So I'm going to see, just so you guys can see.
There's only problem. The only thing I ran into with providers was remote computers, but thankful for PowerShell remoting with invoke command, we can also use providers on remote computers as well.
That's cool. Don't tell them that.
I know, you really should not have told me that. Okay, we're gonna have stuff now.
Yeah, what you're seeing here on the screen these are just some of the many modules that are out there that I don't have loaded because right now I'm not working with this stuff.
You've got a good reference for people to go to find a list of all these modules, right? Because I'm just looking at some of the descriptions, and this is really, really deep level stuff.
The stuff that
I have control over everything.
If I'm not sure what I'm working with module-wise, I'm using, nowadays in the ISE, I can just come up to the command window.
Right.
To get a little bit better idea of what am I playing around with. Now, there's something else that I may as well show you since we're talking about modules here. And that's what commands are come from a particular module. So I can say get command dash module, coding 101. And then I press enter. You can see these are all the commands that are tied into the particular module. And I use coding 101 because it's simple, it's small.
So this actually would be a good tip, which is anytime you're going to load up a module, make sure you check to see what commands are available inside of it.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, because that way
you can hide certain ones too and expose some. So sometimes you'll get a module and it won't all your functions won't show up, but it turns out that it's configured not to show some certain modules.
Wait, I can configure modules so people can't see all the commands inside of it?
Correct.
Does that always work? I mean,
cool.
like, who does it hide from? I mean, if I'm opening it up with administrative privileges, I still can't see everything that might be a command inside that module?
Correct. If you use the export module member function inside the module, or if you have used the functions to export attribute in the module manifest, it doesn't matter if you're an admin or who you are, it will not show up in the session.
Interesting.
Can I talk about the module manifest here?
Yes, please.
Just so you guys know what you're talking about. Okay, so what a module manifest is, some modules will have what they call this manifest file. And we'll look at this in the next episode when we're doing the Twit API stuff and creating our own module. But just so you can see what it does is it automatically will generate some stuff based on things that we tell it. So it's going to say when it was generated, it's going to give us a module name, the generated date. It's going to ask for the module to process. Right now we have this commented out because I was working with June on this. And then we have these things called nested modules. So this is what makes it what they call a manifest module, is because I'm using this manifest here. But the thing that Adam was talking about, so as you see as I scroll through, we can version our modules. We can say this is a particular version we're working with. We can say the name. We can say who owns it, all these other cool things. We can say particular versions that are required. But then you can talk about modules that are required. And then down here, this is where Adam talked about like the things to export. So we could say certain things here can be included or certain things here could be excluded, just based on here.
Got it.
And this is a simple text file. So right now you guys see this open in PowerShell ISE. I could also open this in, say, Notepad or in Vim, whatever your text editor of choice is. These are simple text files.
Of course, if you've got a Windows machine, there's no reason not to open up in PowerShell Administrator.
Exactly.
Just ISE. Just do it.
I know, but I know they're hardcore shell peeps who like Vim. So,
Adam, are you a Notepad shell person?
No, I don't use the ISE. I actually use June's company, Sapiens PowerShell Studio.
Ah, got it. Fantastic. Well, Sarah, I got to say, this is very interesting. A little bit scary to see all the power that I can really mess up my script with. I mean,
it's not called weak shell; it's called PowerShell.
This is really, I mean,
exactly.
I'm seeing you with modules for the Samba share, so I can reach across networks. Yeah, okay, this has a lot of power. We are going to save it for the next episode, because in the next episode, you are going to be jumping us into the TWiT API, which a lot of people are very interested in. We actually just had Patrick Delahanty on to talk about using the TWiT API for live streaming. I want to see what you're going to do with PowerShell. But before we get there, I got to ask, Adam, Sarah, could you please tell the folks at home where they can find you? Both of you have an increasing media presence, and I think our audience would greatly benefit from your work. Sarah, let's start with you. I know that you're in Cleveland, so you're a long-suffering Browns fan, but you are a tech MVP. Where do they find your work?
So they can find me I blog at codinggeekette.com, and I'm on Twitter at Saduki, just like my name suggests. Down there.
That's Sarah Dukevich. That's right. I've said her name like 15 times properly in a row. That's a personal record for me. And Adam Bertrand. Adam, you know, again, we saw you in the chat room. We brought you in for a wildcard episode, and you have been nothing but informative, nothing but exceptional as a code guide. We won't call you a code warrior yet because we haven't done a module with you. But could you tell the folks where they can find your work?
They can find me at adamtheautomator.com, where I blog, and also my Twitter handle at ADBertram.
AD Bertram. And of course, Lou Maresca, my co-host, my cohort, my compadre, the MVP Wrangler. We know that we can find you at Microsoft, but specifically if they want to see what you're doing with CRM, where do the folks at home go?
Well, yeah, you can always find me on Twitter at LouMM, and of course, all my work at Microsoft is at crm.dynamics.com.
Folks, I can't tell you enough how much fun I've had this last hour being scared out of my pants. Now I have to go. Actually, what I want to do is I want to see how quickly I can bork a machine. I've got a lot of spares, so let's see how quickly I can use PowerShell to destroy a registry.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, don't do it. Don't do it.
I didn't show you. It was Sarah. It was Sarah.
It was all Sarah. Now, Sarah, we had problems with getting your notes to the folks last time. So let's make sure that we get a link to all the code that you use so that they can take these examples and use them on their PowerShell ISE. And we will make sure that they get them this time because I don't know what's going on with the interface. I want to thank everyone who makes this show possible. Lisa and Leo. Remember, we do this show every Monday, 2:30 p.m. Pacific time, when we're not pre-recording or when we're not late because of a bad schedule. But watch us live at live.twit.tv and join us in the chat room at irc.twit.tv. Sarah actually loves when we do live shows because it means that she gets the feed off of the chat room. We'll try to do that next time because, well, it's just a lot of fun to watch her interact. Also, big ups to our TD, who is staying late today to pre-record this. Brian, Could you please tell the folks? I mean,
Who?
you are a good man.
Me?
And, yeah, you
Frankie
push the buttons
Hippo
real
rocks.
Yeah, see, whenever you say nice things like that, I feel like something's not
Technical
right.
director,
Something's not
MVP.
right.
Director MVP.
Excuse
That's
me?
Awesome.
Oh, is it? I didn't do that. It must have just been there from last time. That's weird.
It's phenomenal.
No, thanks for letting me do Coding 101. It was a fun episode to watch, and can I say it was a slam dunk?
Nice.
No, you may not.
Oh,
Yes, you can.
Thank you very much for joining us for Coding 101. I'm Father Robert Balaser. That's Adam Bertram. That's Sarah Dukevich. That's Lou Maresca. And Lou, how do we end our shows?
End of line.